What's going on, everybody? DogMan Dan here. Warframe. I want to talk about in update 22.12.0. Obviously, not a major update, but it is a major change. The weapon changes in Warframe that have come out across the board in primaries and secondaries, and that's what this video is going to be to discuss. I will try to remember to put a link to the different times in the video on the different weapons that we're going to discuss, because we're going to go through the changes. We're going to go through the mastery rank changes on here. I have it. You're going to see it all in this video. I just want to take some time to go through all these changes, so it's something that you can reference anytime you need to, and hopefully it helps you out. Okay. Basically, they're revisiting all the weapons and adjusting their stats into some mastery rank groupings, guidelines based on DPS, crit status, split, total. And with that in mind, some buffs, some nerfs, if you will, all these changes. They are over on the forums in the dev workshop, but I really wanted to put a video together to make it easier for people to kind of go through. And I'm sure others will have it out there. So hopefully, like I said, this video helps you out. Hopefully you find what you're looking out of it. And if not, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. So let's talk a little bit more generally here before we get into each of the weapon mastery ranks and so forth. Sadly, not noted here are beam weapons. They should be ready soon, but there's a whole different way to look at it into how they're used in terms of damage instances over time versus fixed fire rates, fire rate mods and all that. So beam weapon category is simply not ready for the update, and I'll follow up with that when it comes out. Conclave weapon damage rebalancing has been done separately to account for changes. Of course, they keep it separate, which is always a great thing. They calculate DPS based on sustained DPS, which also takes critical and status values into account, so the values may be different than yours. Okay, for those in the Riven market, be aware these stats will not affect Riven dispositions. Player polarity usage stats will continue to be the metric for that. Other data shows enemy weapons are unaffected by this, but if there are cases you believe to be wrong, please let them know when you're playing the game. If you feel like there's sudden changes in the enemy AI weaponry, that shouldn't be there. So, mastery rank grouping guidelines, right? They sketch the mastery rank groupings to 0 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 to 12, and 13 to 15 for each weapon type, with a minimum DPS and amount split between the crit and status for each group. Using existing stats, weapons were sorted into different groups. If their stats were too high for their current mastery, it was raised along with other properties to match it. So it was kind of the hopes that they can really increase the variety of weapon usage as well, ultimately by changing where they sit inside the mastery rank, changing up their stats to match that new mastery rank, so forth and so on. So as an example, the Tiburon, which I do love the Tiburon, okay? Its damage places it as a mastery rank 10 to 12, but its critical and stat split is way too low for that mastery rank. So the status and the critical chance were increased to match the new mastery rank. Increasing the status and critical chance boosts its damage, so it is reduced down to fit back into the mastery rank group guidelines its original stats dictated, if that makes sense. So they change it. It moves up to a 10 to 12 mastery rank. It's not enough when you add in the balancing for the status and the crit. They add in that change over to the status and the crit. It becomes too high, so they changed it down a little bit in terms of basic damage to lower it back into the 10 to 12 range instead of having it up into the 13 to 15 range, which I personally would have been happy to have it in the 13 to 15 range, but it is what it is. The end result, basically, high-performing, popular weapon stats remain untouched outside of being placed into their intended mastery rank group, and the rest of the weapons are brought up to the equivalency of where they should be. Granted, I know there's a lot of changes out there. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad things that people don't like. And as always, leave comments here. Go over to those forums. Leave comments over there. I always share my stuff. D's always looking at the creators' pages and content, and they're always checking out people's comments as well as always on the forums. So feel free to share. Some additional stuff. Projectile-based and low fire rate weapons were given more crit and status allowance when appropriately needed. Free weapons like the Dex series have been given mastery rank values to match their stats. They're grandfathered in inventory regardless of master rank. It's just for consistency. Okay. Some outliers exist that don't meet or exceed the master rank allotted DPS, and the crit status split allowance because of additional properties under features. You've got the grandfathered in feature. New players will have to work with the new changes. So if you already have the weapon and you're playing it, it's not going to be locked out from you because you've already got it, but new players coming into the game are going to have to deal with these changes as well. Okay. So let's get into where we're at with this. We're going to start right off with the primary rifles. Okay, we're going to start into the master rank 0 to 3, and then we're just kind of going to roll through like I had on my screen in the beginning of the video. We've got in mastery rank 0 to 3 now, we've got the Bratton, we've got the Latron, we've got the Hind, we've got the Burstin, the Carrick, the Boltor, the Tetra, and the Gorgon. Okay, looking on screen, you can see the changes as appropriate. Bratton damage increase slightly, status chance increase, critical chance increase. Latron status and critical chance increase. The Hind status chance increased, critical chance increase, critical chance increase. Alt fire status chance decreased on the alt fire. Okay, you've got the burst in, status chance increase, critical chance increase, critical damage increase. Doesn't seem like much, but that extra 1 point, or that extra 0.1 multiplier can actually make a big difference. Carrick mastery rank is increased from a 0 to a 1, so it actually has to be a level 1. Damage increase, status and critical chance increase. The Boltor, we got status, critical, and critical damage increases across the board there. You've got the Tetra, damage increase, status chance increase, critical chance increase. They're going to decrease the recoil while aiming and increase the accuracy while aiming. That's pretty nice. That makes the Tetra a pretty nice weapon. But I do like the Tetra personally. It's something most people have never really enjoyed, but I do like my Tetra. Actually, I like the Prisma Tetra. I put a lot of mods into that one. A lot of Forma. You've got the Gorgon. Status and critical chance increase and increased accuracy while aiming now. So a bullet hose going down with more increased accuracy. That's always a good thing. Okay, let's drop into mastery rank 4 to 6 in the primary rifles. So you're looking at not a big category. Dara, Prisma Tetra, Sabaris, Soma, Bratton Vandal, and the Grikata. Just looking at it, you got increase in damage on the Dara, status chance, critical damage, reload speed is increased, and a very slight recoil is added on the Dara. You've got the Prisma Tetra, which is a weapon of my favorite, just because I enjoy it. So now they've increased the damage slightly. Status chance is increased. I can live with that. I love status chance. That's just the way I am. Decrease the recoil, yes, and increase the accuracy. Just makes it a nicer weapon overall, I think. And I'll play it around to see. Sabaris increase, just the damage overall. The Soma damage increase a little bit, but that does make a huge difference. Bratton Vandal. Mastery rank is increased from a 0 to a 4. Seems kind of odd, since nobody can actually get a hold of the Bratton Vandal unless they re-release it. And if they do, then it's going to be a Mastery rank 4 requirement to use. Status chance increased, critical chance increased, ammo capacity increased. I am happy, because I love my Bratton Vandal. The only thing I hate about it was the audio sound when they changed it back in the day, because that Bratton Vandal in the beginning, oh man, I love that sound. You just couldn't, oh man, it was the best sound out there, and then they changed it to something weird. But I hear they're having a sound pass on all weapons as well soon. And the Grikata, it's going to be changed over from a Master Rank 0 to a Master Rank 5 now. So if you don't have it, when you go to get the weapon, now it's a requirement 5. It's just the way it is. Okay, going into Master Rank 7 to 9, we've got a pretty big category in here. You're going to have the Hema, the Attica, the Stradivar, the Carrick Wraith, the Bratton Prime, Dara Vandal, Harpak, Grinlock, Gorgon, Parasist, Latin Wraith, Latron Wraith, I'm sorry, the Soma Prime, the Dexabaris, Panthera, and the Baza. And I would say this is the category that most people will probably have weapons that they use the most of. So again, we got the Hema damage increase if you even have it yet, if your clan's been able to finish it. Critical chance increase no longer requires or consumes rifle ammo. An improved projectile trial FX or trail FX. I'm sorry. The Attica mastery rank increase up to a 7, from a 0 to a 7. That's a huge difference. Critical damage increased to 3. We saw that damage increase or damage decrease from a 125 to an 80. That's kind of odd, but they moved it up to a 7, which, okay, you know. Stradivar, it's a weapon that I like. I'll admit to it. Status chance increase and critical chance increase on the auto mode. Status chance increase, critical chance increase on the semi-auto mode, and decrease the automatic recoil. I like it. Carrick Wraith, another weapon of choice that I like, all the way up to a master rank 7. Damage increase to a just by 1. Status chance and critical chance increase. Those are big changes in the status and critical. That's going to really affect that Carrick Wraith. Bratton Prime, great weapon. Finally should be up to where it's at, mastery rank 8. I think that's a good level of where it should have been at for a while, instead of mastery rank 0. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Status chance increase, yes. Critical chance increase. Ammo capacity increase. All nice changes, as always. The Dare Vandal up from a rank 4 to a 7 now. Damage increase, status critical increase, reload speed increase, very slight recoil added. Okay, kind of an offset. You got your Harpack. This one's interesting, where they've got your increased damage of the Harpoon secondary. You also changed the Harpoon damage from 100% puncture to what is now 40% impact, 50% puncture, and 10% slash. So it makes it a slightly better in terms of viability on the Harpoon. Added 17% status chance, added critical chance at 20%, added critical damage at 2.3%, all on the Harpoon, as you can see. Status chance increased up to a 17%, critical damage increased to a 2.3%, and fire projectile trail FX is improved. Okay, Grinlock. It's a weapon that I do love. Master rank up to a 7. I can take that. Damage increase, yes. Critical chance or damage increase. Magazine size increase. Oh, love that. Reload speed increase. Increased accuracy while aiming. All nice changes to that weapon. I mean, and a lot of these weapons are going to now be worth revisiting just to kind of see where they stand for you in terms of gameplay. Whether it still makes it into late stage gameplay or not, that's kind of is going to really play on your modding and how you actually play the game. Gorgon Wraith increased to a 7. Status chance, critical damage, ammo capacity, and increased accuracy. All changed. All beautiful changes. Parasist, mastery rank, it's just up 1. Damage increase, increased accuracy, decreased recoil. I can't say that I've really used that weapon much, but, you know, it's slight changes. Latron Wraith up to a 7, which is where it should have been. A lot of these weapons should have been higher up in the beginning, so that way it's just the way that it is. But again, the grandfathered in. If you have them, great. If you don't, then when you go to get them, you're stuck in the grandfathers. You're stuck having to make sure you get to that master rank before you can use it. Okay, damage increase, critical chance, critical damage, status chance, all up. Not significant in terms of numbers. Actually, the status chance is down. I apologize. But it can make a difference long term depending on your modding. Soma Prime, master rank increase. Dexaparis, mastery rank increase all the way up to a 7. But again, we talked about that grandfather clause. I would say new players going to get it when they do their anniversary release is going to be stuck on the mastery rank. So you may not actually have access to it. Panthera, status chance, critical chance increased. The Baza, critical damage increased as well. Mastery rank 10 to 12. You've got your Tenora, your Buzzlock, your Burstin Prime, your Tiburon, your Prisma Gorgon, your Prisma Gorkata, your Latron Prime, your Telos Boltor, your Quartak, your Zenith, your Supra, and your Z-Huge, if you will. The Tenora, you've got some primary and alternate fire increase, status chance, critical chance on the all fire and primary, increase the speed to reach max fire rate. That's always a good thing. Buzzlock, mastery rank increase up to an 11, increased projectile speed on primary and secondary, decreased recoil. You've got your burst and prime, big changes here from a mastery rank 0 up to a 12. Status chance, critical damage, all going up, damage decrease going down a little. Tiburon, mastery rank increase from a 4 to a 10, big change. Status chance increase, more than doubling. Critical chance increase, definitely more than doubling. Critical damage increase. Primary damage is a decrease. But with the changeovers in the status and critical chances, that's gonna make that a beautiful weapon. Prismagorgon, from a 4 to a 10. Status chance, critical damage. And then the main damage decrease. Not by much, but the increases of the status and the critical chance are just going to make that a beautiful one to play with, I believe, as well, personally. And I like that Prismagorgata, because you've got to have a Gorgata. Slight increase in the master rank up to an 11. Damage increase. Status chance increase by only 1%, but still, it's enough. Ultimately, down the road, it's enough in terms of a change. Latron Prime, huge change from a 0 to a 10 in the mastery rank. Finally, after all these years, they're actually starting to put weapons where they should be mastery rank wise, which is always a good thing. Damage increase, status chance, critical damage, all going up. Not by significant amounts. Well, the critical chance is going up pretty significantly, but enough to make a difference in terms of the weapons play. Telos Boltor, another one of my favorites. Status chance increase, yeah, that's doubled. Critical chance is more than doubled. Critical damage increase. Damage decrease, though, overall, the primary damage from a 50 to a 30, so your offset is going to be with the status and critical, but you can definitely make that work. So I'm going to have to relook at that in terms of how I've got it modded to fit those changes. The Quartak, not much of a change in mastery rank, just up 1. Damage increase is pretty big. Reload speed decrease, and the fire rate is decreased on that weapon. Zenith going up from a 5 to a 10 with an increase in the status. Always a nice thing to have. The Supra is pretty big here in terms of changes. You got a master rank from a 7 to a 12. Your status chance going up to 30%. Your critical chance going up to 12%. And these are your base stats, remember. So your critical damage is going up on the multiplier. You've got increased projectile speed, increased accuracy, slight damage decrease. But I with the changes overall, I don't think you can go wrong. This is really going to make that weapon so much nicer with the status and the critical. Then you got your Z-Huge going from a 0 to a 10 master rank, but there's no changes in terms of damage increases or anything like that. And finally, we have the last category, the 13 to 15 weapons, which there's only a couple of. Boltor Prime, Super Vandal, Opticore, Ferox. So Boltor Prime going from a 2 to a 13. That's been something people have been complaining about for years, that it should have been way up there in the master rank, and it should have been. Well, now it is. Status chance increase, critical chance increase, damage decrease from a 55 to a 46. Not sure how I like that, but I do like those changes in the status and the critical chance. Super Vandal from a 10 to a 14. Obviously, it had to go up above the regular Supra. 5 to 30 status increase up to 16 critical. Damage multiplier up. So you can see overall, this is a much better. So the damage, the base damage though itself is down to a 40, just like the regular Supra. But slight increases in terms of critical and critical damage over the regular Supra. You got your Opticore going up, no changes in terms of damage wise, but it's just going up to a 14. Your Ferox going up to a 14 with a critical chance and critical damage increase. Primary shotguns, not a big category overall. We don't have a lot of shotguns, but we'll talk right through here. They reduced the aim zoom for all shotguns apart from the Astilla, and I'll keep that on everything that we talk about, just so it's in your head here. Master rank 4 to 6, Dracoon, Comb, going up here, increases mastery rank on both of them. Quick shot damage increase per pellet Dracoon. Status chance increase hugely on the charge. Increased projectile speed, reduced charge time, projectile lifetime reduced, and damage of charge shot decreased a little bit on the per pellet for the Dracoon, but still that overall is a nice change in where it sits for the damage numbers, in my opinion anyway. Comb, master rank from a 2 to a 5. Critical chance increase, critical damage increase. Not huge in the numbers, but it may make a difference. I don't really play the Comb too much, but we'll see. Master rank 7 to 9. Tigris and Sobek, pretty heavily played, I think, in both of those weapons. Tigris going up to a 9 from the 4. Slight increase in status and a double on the critical chance there. Sobek up to a 7. Status chance increase pretty significant. Critical chance not a huge significant change there, and the reload speed is increased from 4 seconds to 2.7 seconds. So that's always nice to have that reload speed. Mastery rank 10 to 12. Your Astilla going up to a master rank 10, no changes otherwise. Your Strun Wraith going up to a 10 from a 0, in damage increase, critical chance increase, critical damage increase. Not significant, but enough to make a difference. Sancti Tigris, which we all love, status chance increase. Yes, please. Boar Prime going from a 2 to a 12, that's a huge difference with a damage increase per pellet. You've got your Arca Plasmor, which is magazine size increase from a 6 to a 10. Slight change. But that can actually, the magazine sizes can make a huge change in gameplay overall. Okay, launchers. Big one. Mastery rank 4 to 6. I shouldn't say it's a big category. There's a few in here, but there's some big changes if you look at it. You've got your Torrid, your Toncore, your Scourge all on your 4 to 6. Torrid, increased fire rate, increased reload speed. Oh yes, I love that change. It's like halving that reload time. Projectile speed and the projectile trail FX changeover. You got Toncore, increased projectile speed, changed the projectile life from 3 seconds on launch to 1 second after first bounce, and then the improved trails. Scourge, damage from direct hits increased from a 30 to a 70 on the primary fire. None of those weapons changed in terms of where they sit for mastery rank, though they still in the same categories. Mastery rank 7 to 9. Ogress, Czar, Javlok. I spent a lot of time with the Ogress and the Czar. Ogress, increased charge speed, thank you. Increased fire rate, even better. Czar, status chance increase, huge for me. Critical chance increase is nice. Lessens the effect of gravity on the projectile, okay. And improved projectile trail of the bomblets after the initial explosion. Always nice to improve that, but I like that status chance increase. A little critical, but I do like that status chance. And then you have the Javlok, which is actually going to change from a 6 to a 7. Damage from direct hits is increased significantly on the primary fire. The reload speed is increased, and removed the camera shake when throwing a spear. And then Master Rank 10 to 12 is the Satura Penta. That's a Zeta's favorite. But status chance increase, critical chance increase, very significant on both of those. Damage increase, decreased I should say, I'm sorry. And the ammo capacity is decreased by 2. Okay, but that status and critical chance increase is huge on that weapon. So secondaries, Master Rank 0 to 3, you've got your Siri, your Kraken, your Kunai, your Haiku, your Lato, your Aklato, your Sicarus, your Furies, your Kastanas. Pretty decent amount of weapons in there. Again, you're going to see the same stuff where you have your damage increase, status chance increase, critical increase, reduced aim zoomed from a 5x to a 3.5x. I kind of like that. It was a little bit much, I think, on the 5 times. So Your Kraken, damage increase, status increase, and reduced recoil. Always a nice thing. Your Kunai, increase, status, critical, damage, basic damage. Haiku, same thing. You get status, critical, and damage. So you're going to see throughout most of these weapons, just looking at it, it's all about the status and critical changes that really make the significant change in the weapon. And I think that's just kind of a prep for the next version of the damage system overall. Um, your Lato, your Act Lato is going up from a 0 to a 3 mastery rank. Same thing. Increases, decrease the fire rate on the Act Lato. Secondaries, increased status, critical, decreased recoil, decreased damage. Furies, status increase, accuracy increased. Kastanas, damage increase, status chance, critical chance, increased projectile. Deployed damage radius is increased. Multi-shot now spreads additional projectiles horizontally only, and the ammo pool is decreased on that one. Okay, Mastery Rank 4 to 6. You're looking at a good number in here again. Viper, Twin Gremlins, Vasto, Despair, Sestra, Haiku Prime, Twin Vipers, Viper Wraith, Axani, Angstrom, Afuries, Zima, Colstar. Pretty significant area of changes. Overall, you got mastery rank increases, as you can see, on a good number of these weapons. Damage increases, status chance increases, ammo capacity increases over the board here. Projectile increases. So it's definitely going to make a difference looking at some of these weapons. I know the Despair. So many people still don't have the Despair after all these years, but it's interesting to see how some of these are going to play. Are you interested in going back to looking at these weapons again, maybe adding some forma, maybe trying some changes around? I think this is just our pre to the next damage system, and how significant things can change at that point. We don't really know. Okay, so Master Rank 7-9, your Spyra, your Axe Stiletto, Dual Sestra, your Tysis, Axe Tsunami, Samadhi, Pox, Pandero, the Act Vasto, Twin Viper Wraith, Lato Vandal, Stubba, Merlock, Lex Prime, Fuseli, Act Jagara, Twin Gricadas, Talons, Prisma Angstrom. A huge category of changes here. Some of them just mastery rank changes, but a huge grouping again. Their focus was really changing your status and critical chances around the board on all these weapons, while increasing the master rank to fit where they should. Some decreases and stuff as well, but overall I think we've got some huge updates in terms of making the weapons feel better around the board here. If we get over into the 10 to 12 category, your Magnus, your Satura Dual Sestra, your Act Magnus, Spyro Prime, Dual Toxis, Vasto Prime, Telos Act Bolto. Still need to get that for me. No, I have the Telos Act Bolto. Never mind. My bad. I don't have the Act Bolto Prime yet. That's just me. Vacor Merlock, Act Stiletto Prime, the Nell. Totally forgot about that weapon. Dex Furies, Zakti, Sancti Castanas, all in here. Couple just master rank changes. Most have the status critical chance increases. Some have some damage decreases overall as well in there to fit it back into the category better. A good number of these weapons out there that people do run, I think. You're going to have your Master Rank 13 to 15, your Lato Prime, your Sicarus Prime, your Aklex Prime, Ballistic Prime in there. These are your high-end weapons. Mostly just Mastery Rank changes overall. Mastery Rank increase from a 6 to a 14 on the Lato Prime. Damage increase from 37 to 48. Secondaries Prime going up, Master Rank, Master. It's just Master Rank increases really overall. Moving on to Shotgun Secondaries. Not a huge category, but we have a category nonetheless of Shotgun Secondaries. Mastery Rank 0 to 3, Bronco, AK Bronco. Still pretty much the same. Not really any difference in terms of, if you just look at the numbers. Just remember the AK Bronco is 2 weapons versus the Bronco being just 1, so I guess it's overall slightly better, even though it's the same damage numbers. You got Master Rank 4 to 6, Detron, Brack, Bronco Prime, Comac, all going in here with some changes overall. The Comac having a damage decrease. Not significant damage decrease, but they also dropped the Mastery Rank down to a 5 from a 10. This is the first one in here so far. They've really seen the weapon going backwards in terms of Mastery Rank instead of going up. Getting into the Mastery Rank 7 to 9 category, you've got your Twin Rogas, you've got your Mara Detron. Slight increases here in damage and status and critical. Nothing too major. Okay, you've got your Master Rank 10 to 12, your AK Bronco Prime, your Twin Comacs. Okay, here's another damage decrease here, or max rank decrease. Still fits it in the same category, but it's going from an 11 to a 10, or your Twin Comacs are going up from a 6 to a 10. So some significant differences in there overall. Again, it still comes down to trying out some of these weapons. I mean, some of these changes are huge, and some of them may not really be that much if you have really no interest in that particular weapon, but I would definitely try to cover a number of these changes overall, and look at some of my past builds just to kind of update them and see how much better they are with these changes. Okay, so let's get into snipers. Alright, so Mastery Rank 0 to 3, snipers, the Snipetron, Vectis, Volcar. I like all 3 of them. Damage increase, the Snipetron, status chance increase, just Mastery Rank increases on the Vectis and the Volcar. Mastery Rank 4 to 6, Rubico, Snipetron, Vandal. Slight increases in here, their Mastery Rank is going up. Status chance, critical chance, damage decrease on the Rubico. But overall, I think those might be some nice changes. Mastery Rank 7 to 9. The Volcar Wraith increases from a 0 to a 7. That's a pretty big difference there. Your Mastery Rank 10 to 12, your Lanka, going from a 7 to a 10. Your Master Rank 13 to 15, your Vectis Prime, which is the only one that fits in that category now. It's going up from a Master Rank 3 to a Master Rank 14. That's a huge difference. Damage increase to a 350. Critical chance increased from 25 to 30. Those are all pretty big differences on that weapon overall. Okay, and we have our bows. Alright. We have a couple of those in here. A couple different ranking areas. So your Paris is going to stay in your 0 to 3 rank. It's going to move up to a 3. No longer is your Paris a Mastery Rank 0, which I don't know how that's going to play out, considering the Paris is part of the initial game. It's one of those weapons that you can choose when you choose a bow in the beginning of the game. But if it's Mastery Rank locked, how does that work? Charge speed increased from a 1 to a 0.5, so that's always a good thing. Master Rank 4 to 6, the Dread, the Cernos. So Master Rank on the Dread going up to a 5. Interesting. You may end up owning a Dread before you actually can play a Dread if you're a new player. Cernos increase from a 0 to a 6. Charge shot damage increase. Charge speed increase. Status chance increase. Critical chance increase. All differences here. The biggest, I think, is in terms of your charge shot and your status changes. In the 7 to 9 category for bows, you have your Mutalisk Cernos, your Paris Prime, both going up in Mastery Rank. Charge speed increase, status increase, charge shot damage increase. So pretty different changes in there. And then you have your mastery rank 10 to 12, which is your Daiaku and your Cernos Prime. Both getting some big changes here. Mastery rank on the Daiaku going from a 0 to a 10, which is where it should have been initially. Should have been up there. Should never have been a mastery rank 0, so now that's getting changed. Physical damage changes on here from a 20% impact. It's now going to split out as a 60% puncture, 20% slash. The whole thing, I'm sorry, is going to change over from that to now 30% impact, 40% puncture, and 30% slash. So my apologies for saying that wrong. It was 20-60-20. Now it's going to be 30-40-30. That's actually going to make a big change, just having that higher slash and impact on there. Charge speed is increased down to 1 second. Charge can now be held indefinitely. Interesting. Yeah, before it would actually go away, but now it can be held indefinitely. Damage decreased on this, though, from a 500 to a 460, so they did make some changes to fit it into a 10 category. But in terms of how they lay out the physical damage, but they still felt like decreasing it overall. The Cernos Prime going to a 12 on the master rank, making it the highest of the bows. Charge speed increased. Status chance increased pretty significantly. The reload speed is increased. He added secondary fire mode toggle that shoots a vertical spread of 3 arrows. That's interesting. And then they added innate plus 50% damage to headshots. So they really, really bumped up the Cernos Prime to be the best of these weapons overall, I think. Just the way it is, especially if you're in for getting headshots. So those are the changes from update 22.12.0 for the weapons. As posted as they are. Are they subject to change? Yes, most definitely they are. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. You're able to quickly reference any changes that you were looking at from what they were to what they are. Please do feel free to leave comments, questions, share the video, all that jazz. I appreciate everybody that stayed through and listened. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.